Hey everybody, what's up? It's Harv. Let's rock and roll. Let's talk about fascism. So fascism, ladies and gentlemen, is a super interesting topic, and it is a social, political, and economic ideology that arises in the 1920s and 1930s. Okay? Now, I'm going to talk about how it's caught, like how it starts, like what causes it, and then also talk about why, like what it is. Okay? But before we do that, we need to kind of give ourselves a visual. All right, so what I want you to do is get a fresh blank sheet of paper out, and with that sheet of paper, I want you to draw a line all the way across your piece of paper, okay? Across it, all right? Not from top to bottom, okay? Across it, okay? And in the middle of that line, I want you to draw another line that's just a little bit smaller, just like a little dash, okay, to separate it, all right? So, it's important for us to know our conservatives and liberals, okay? Or conservative liberal. All right. So to the left of that, we know that left on our spectrum typically means liberal, progressive. Okay. All right. To the left of that, we have socialism, a little bit more radical form of liberalism. But the most radical form of liberalism and socialism is communism. And we know each, right? We know communism, and we know that there's some different forms of communism. All right. But we know communism typically entails the government, classless society. The government controls everything. The government, violent revolution. Okay, and you should be able to, like a little asterisk though, and say there's a difference though. But when it comes to communism, because we have Leninism and we also have Stalinism, which are different variations of that. Then we have socialism, right? And there's some socialism typically means the government controls the major means of production, but we do know there's some differences, and right, Saint Simeonism, a little bit different. Okay, and you should go through that with your notes. All right. Now to the right of our line, we have conservatism, and a typical characteristic of conservatism is capitalism, right? But but what we're going to learn today is the most conservative socio-political economic ideology is going to be fascism. Fascists are hyper ultra conservatives. Okay, and we're going to get into that. And the main reason why we're going to see fascism during the 1920s and 1930s is World War I, Great Depression, and a big reason is the spread and fear of communism. So it's important for us to know, ladies and gentlemen, that fascism is a reaction to communism, a reaction and an effect of communism, fascism. Okay, so let's talk about what it is. Okay, it's hyper nationalistic. That's probably the key word to identify with fascism. Okay, Mussolini, when he takes over, he's going to want to make Italy the Roman Empire again, make them a perennial European power. No one messes with them. Okay, and he's doing that for the good of his people. Hitler's going to found the Third Reich, the Second Reich being our German Empire established by Otto von Bismarck, and the First Reich was considered Charlemagne, okay, the first Holy Roman Empire. All right. So these two leaders, fascism is an embodiment. Fascism is highly connected to nationalism. It's hyper nationalism. Okay, it's anti-democratic, anti-communist, anti-Marxist, anti-parliamentary, which relates to democracy. Okay. And it's anti-capitalist. Now, circle anti-capitalism and put an asterisk by it. Okay? You all might be saying to yourself, yo, Harv, what? Dude, you just said conservatism, capitalism, that's part of being a conservative, is being capitalist. Well, there's a little loophole with that when it comes to fascism, which we're going to talk about. Okay? But it's important to know that they're ultra-conservative. All right? Let's talk about the economics, okay, and the economic policy. All right? Fascism, ladies and gentlemen, is going to differ from socialism economically in that the government will support private business. So there is some notion of capitalism. But the government is going to control the private business to pursue policies and goods that are for the good of the state. So let me give you an example, all right? If you have a shoemaker in Germany during Nazi Germany, that shoemaker has his own company, but the government will tell him what kind of shoes to make and how to produce them. All right. The government will have a manipulative role within the economy. Okay, it's going to manipulate business, manipulate markets to do what? We're going to see automobile manufacturers in Germany, ladies and gentlemen, private automobile manufacturers start making tanks because that's what the German government is going to, Adolf Hitler is going to make them do. So there is private business, yes, but the government is going to have an indirect, direct role within that and manipulate the businesses to produce things for the good of the state, to produce things that the state wants. Okay, so just kind of understand that caveat right there. All right, they reject liberalism. They reject, the Enlightenment. They're going to reject, constitutionalism, freedom of speech, French Revolutionary ideals, American Revolutionary ideals. All right. And it's also important, ladies and gentlemen, that there will be some similarities, though, ironically, between fascists and communists, even though they're on the complete ends of our political, social, and economic ideological spectrums, in that they will share the commonality that they are dictatorial. They will have dictatorships. Also, they're going to be characterized by terrorism, police, all right, secret police, killing their political opponents, all right? And fascists believed that parties and politics, democracy, degraded and sacrificed their national honor and national greatness. The countries were not as great as they could because of democracy. Democracy made them weak, okay? A dictatorship, fascism will believe that, believing in your country and having extreme nationalism makes your nation stronger, more united, okay? And that's going to be a key part of the fascist ideology, okay? And we're going to see it first founded by Mussolini in Italy. So let's get into it. Let's talk about Mussolini, okay? Now, a couple of reasons why fascism, okay, is going to be take hold in Italy and in Germany is there's three main reasons: the Great Depression, the Treaty of Versailles, and communism, the spread of Bolshevism, okay? And we're going to see in Italy, okay, a lot of people were disillusioned, upset with Versailles. Italians were specifically upset for a couple reasons. Number one, they didn't get as much land as they wanted. They wanted more land, okay, in the Balkans, wanted land from Austria. They wanted some land, and they didn't get it, okay? They didn't get it, all right? Another reason why is a lot of people felt that because they didn't get that land, all those sacrifices, all those deaths were in vain, okay? And a lot of people also were scared of communism, the Bolsheviks, the Soviet Union. There's also, ladies and gentlemen, lots of inflation, lots of unrest, all right? And the leader who's going to take, advantage of all this will be Benito Mussolini, also known as El Duce, okay? Now, he was a former socialist, but he lost his socialist beliefs when he was in the war, okay? And I don't think he was specifically in the war, but he lost it. He lost it during World War I, and I don't think Mussolini fought in World War I. Okay, I'm not too sure about that. Hitler did. I'm not too sure about Mussolini. But nationalism is going to be really become a stronger ideology for him as he gets older and more mature in his political career. Okay, and Mussolini is going to take advantage of the chaos in post-war Italy. Italy was really with the Great Depression starting. Italy is really going to be deadlocked with economic problems. Their political system is going to be deadlocked because they're not sure about how to solve the economic problems. There's strikes going on. Workers are taking factories. Peasants are taking lands. There's inflation. People are not making a lot of money. Okay, and the conditions are ripe for a dictatorship. People are upset. People are dissatisfied. People are pessimistic. Okay, so the conditions are ripe for a dictatorship. Also, a lot of Italians were like, when are we going to be treated as legit? When are we going to be considered legit? Okay, and you're going to see people, Mussolini feed people what they want to hear. All right, and people are going to start to believe in him. He's going to be like, I'll make us strong. I will make everyone listen to us. Okay, I'm going to bring us a Roman Empire. And people are really going to really attach to that. Okay, so Mussolini is going to support a lot of the workers. Okay, and something that Mussolini is going to come to understand is that people, when they're hungry, when they're out of work, when they are tired, when they are scared, is that people can be radicalized pretty easily, and people are willing to sacrifice some of their freedoms for order, and for just having food on the table and a paycheck. Some people are willing to get rid of some of their freedoms, like freedom of speech, freedom of religion, democracy, the right to vote. People are interested in order, and Mussolini is going to really hearken to that. He's going to take advantage of people's vulnerabilities and people's tumultuous lives going on right now, their dissatisfaction, their fear, and he's gonna take charge. Okay, we're gonna start seeing he and his fascists go after socialists, go after any political opponents. Okay, the police are gonna ignore them. The police aren't gonna care about what's going on. Okay, because they're really dissatisfied as well. And we're going to start seeing Mussolini gain power and gain attraction and gain notoriety. And he's going to start to gain power in the government legally. People are going to start voting in the fascists. All right. And one of the big turning points that you need to write down in your notes, ladies and gentlemen, here we go, is the Black Shirt March. Mussolini is going to, and Mussolini was a very bombastic guy. Okay. He would get up there and he would strut and he would speak. And if you go online and look at some of his speeches, you'll see his personality, okay? But he's gonna, with his fascists, march on Rome, ladies and gentlemen, all right? And we are gonna see the king and a lot of the government protest, okay, resign and protest, and the king is gonna be in a big spot right here. It's gonna be tough for him. If he kills Mussolini, he might start a civil war. If he doesn't, then Mussolini's might take power, and the king loses power, Victor Emmanuel. So this king is in a really tough spot, and eventually he's going to just invite Mussolini. He says, "Hey, you know what? You take control. You can lead Italy." And so Victor Emmanuel III is going to invite Mussolini to be the prime minister. This is very important, ladies and gentlemen, because this is going to be kind of similar to what happens with Hitler. We are going to see Hitler and Mussolini take power legally. That is different from Lenin and the Soviets. They had a revolution, not in Italy, not in Nazi Germany. There's no revolution. So that's important for us to understand. Okay, there's a difference, all right? And in 1922, the king is going to say, Mussolini, you can be dictator for 1 year. You can have dictatorial powers, all right? And so Mussolini is going to become a dictator for 1 year. That's not going to work out. We know Mussolini is not going to give up his power, okay? So once he's in power, ladies and gentlemen, he is going to make his move, all right? He's going to start changing election laws, okay? And by changing the election laws, we're going to see the fascists win complete control of parliament. If they have complete control of parliament and Mussolini is in power, Mussolini has complete control because his supporters are in control of parliament, all right? And so we are going to see by 1926, Mussolini is going to be able to rule however he wants by decree, and Italy will be a dictator state. And he's going to go on and start killing his political opponents and anybody who threatens his power. Okay, presumably socialists, okay, because those are his ideological enemies. All right. Now, something really interesting, ladies and gentlemen, and I want you to think about two people during this time, Napoleon and Stalin, okay? We're going to see Mussolini make peace with the papacy and the Pope. Now, if you go all the way back to when Italy unified, all right, with Count Kovar, all right, during the mid-19th century, remember, there was some beef between the Italian government and the papacy. Well, the Italian government took some of the papal lands, all right, and some of their territory and some of their money and power and prestige, all right. And Mussolini is going to, in order to get the support of the Catholics in Italy, make peace with the Pope and the papacy. Isn't that very similar to Napoleon and what he did? Yes, that's a synthesis right there and a big connection, a similarity, okay? But a difference from Joseph Stalin. Remember, Joseph Stalin, he went out and totally took down the Greek Orthodox Church, killed priests, burned churches. That's a big contrast. So Mussolini is very similar to what Napoleon did. That's a contrast with what Stalin did. Okay, and so we're going to see, and this is very similar to Napoleon. Catholicism will be the official religion of Italy. It's very similar to what Napoleon did when he made peace with the church, right? After that whole mess of the civil constitution of the clergy during the French Revolution, we see Napoleon remember, he says, hey, Catholicism's our official religion, right? And the Pope's like, yeah, right? That's what happened with Napoleon. This is very similar right here, okay? We are going to see Mussolini make peace with the church, okay? And Catholicism is the official religion of Italy, okay? I'm going to stop here, and I'm going to talk about Weimar Germany and Nazism next.